Hey, this is Zach Roberts from AroundTheLens.com. I am about to head out to the inauguration. This will be my third inaugural. I wanted to kind of do a walkthrough on what the kind of the basics that I carry. I work in multimedia, so I do photo and video. So my bag is going to be a little bit different than possibly a lot of still photographers or a lot of videographers. I'm shooting this on a JVC video camera right now. My shotgun mic is on that camera, so you're not going to see it in this bag right now. But this will give you a kind of a good idea of all the stuff that I carry. And also, by the way, it'll be in the Mindshift Trailscape 18L that I just got to review from Mindshift Gear. Shockingly, in this small bag, everything actually fits. I'm actually really stunned. I think the only thing that I couldn't really still kind of configure in here was the Apple charger, which honestly would be in a different bag anyway. This is not something that that's not something I'd actually ever carry out. And also, everything that's in here, I am not going into the field with, I can promise you. But it's literally just kind of everything that I can think that I'd actually want to bring in one spot. And then kind of some accessories and kind of random other stuff, like extra hand warmers and gloves and stuff like that. That'll be in a different backpack or something else that I carry. Or any other lenses or like that outside of my kind of normal kit that I have. Okay, so let's open this up. So right on the front here, we have a nice little pocket. I carry quite a few number of batteries. I shoot with two Nikon D600s right now. And since I shoot a lot of video, that goes through a lot of battery. And especially, we're kind of considering that it might be very cold out. So you're going to actually want to have extra batteries, and always keep one or two in your pocket just so you can switch out if you get close to, if you're going to start doing a long interview, or if there's a situation where you may not be able to, switch, mid photos or whatever, if you're in a big cluster stuff going on. I have both Nikon and Wasabi power. This one's Nikon. This one's Nikon. This one's actually a Power 2000. And this one's Nikon. And then I also have two more that are actually in my camera. I don't shoot with battery grips. I find the cameras are kind of heavy enough already. So right now I carry 7 batteries with me. I probably won't go through more than 4 total. But it's always nice to have extras in case things go really long. Or since these batteries on the Nikon D600 work on like half of the Nikon line right now, like everything from the D7000 series to the D600s, and I think that they work on the D800s. I'm not 100% sure. So it's actually really nice sometimes to be able to, if you have a powered one, it's always good to, oh, you needed another battery, here you go, and you can trade out it and get a different one. Me and my Nikon friend shooters do this all the time. Sometimes what I do, if you can see, which I might I'd recommend, and we can go into this like on another video. But I number mine, so I have to go through and redo them. But I use a silver Sharpie and put numbers on them. So first off, I know that they're mine, and in case you get a bunch of chargers connected, like you do in hotel rooms when you're sharing with a bunch of other photographers. But also, you can kind of have a good idea. Oh, I already shot 1 and 2, so I'm on 3, then I'll shoot 4. And if you actually think about it and kind of plan ahead, you can have a good idea when you're routing through your bag, your pockets, if they're charged or not, and you don't have to put it in your camera to find out. So that's there. This is my NPPA press card. Don't go anywhere without it. You don't have to have an NPPA one. There's different places you can get press cards made up. Very few, if you're a freelancer, very few places give out press cards anymore. So I would definitely recommend getting one of your own. Obviously, if you live in New York City, get a New York City police press credential. And if you're in, I think DC and Chicago also do them. They're There's not too many cities that do them, but I recommend to get them. I haven't lived in New York City in a long time, so I'm not really eligible to get them anymore. Let's open up the next layer. So I highly recommend pens. Even if you don't keep physical notes and you use your cell phone, I recommend having it, because then you can always, if your battery runs out or whatever, you can always take notes on that. I personally have never been able to really get down the whole cell phone note thing well enough. I just can't type well enough. I usually will just it's easier for me to just hand this notebook to somebody who I photographed or whatever. Hey, can you write down your name and address, or name and phone number, or whatever, or name and info that I need, so I can write a proper caption, or just get a hold of you later on to confirm something. This is a Think Tank memory card holder. Again, since I shoot video, I have a lot of memory cards. I highly, highly recommend the Xandisk Extreme Pro 95 series. It's not the 95 series, but the 95. They're like $22 or something like that for the 32 gig ones. I don't personally recommend, unless you're shooting like 4K video. If you're mostly shooting stills and some video, I really recommend just getting a bunch of 32 gigs. And I find that very rarely do I ever go through the 2 cards for my camera that I have, in mind. So very rarely do I go through 64 gigs, even if I'm shooting exclusively video, and also shooting to the full 20, 25 minute clip lengths on Nikons or Canons or whatever. I also do have a PNY. It works. It's not my one that I usually rely. Usually I put it in one of my audio recorders or something like that. I have, like I said, I have a lot of them, because they break, you run out of them, you just go through it. And again, it's super nice to be able to throw a friend one in case. They're gotten so cheap now. I think that the 60 megabytes ones, which are usually pretty good enough for, especially if you're shooting JPEG, they're like $15-16 on Amazon now. By the way, Best Buy price matches with Amazon if it's a actual Amazon thing. Just so you know, if you're ever in the field and you don't have a B&H or a Adorama around, highly recommend trying that out. So the cool thing, even though in the Mindshift Gear it says fits a 10-inch tablet, the little pouch here holds a 13-inch MacBook Pro. This is the new-ish series. It's not the USB-C ones where they get rid of everything that is useful for a photographer. But it does fit in there. If I'm going into a scrum, if I'm going into where some police might be hitting people with batons and stuff like that, I don't know if this is enough padding. That's the one thing I will say. That's the one kind of pullback. This is nice and easy access. But the drawback is if you get hit with a baton or you fall backwards, it's right here. And I don't know if it would survive. I had a Think Tank bag on the last time I got beat up by cops, and I got hit on my backpack with it. But luckily, the laptop sleeve was in the back. So laptop actually made it through, which was an older generation without a solid state drive. So it was actually kind of surprising. I almost wrote that off. So yeah, anything else in these pockets here? Let me see. Nope. So we're going to go to the inside of the bag and open this up. I love how this bag actually opens up really nice and fully and has a really nice kind of open floor plan thing going on. So what I got in here is, this is a 1 terabyte USB 3.0 hard drive. What I do is I go through about 2 of these a year, because when I'm on the road, what I do is I put all my photos, videos on this, edit live, do my edits when I'm on the road, and then when I come home, take everything from here and dump it onto the multiple hard drives. You see, I'm going through an organizational thing right now, but kind of moved around here. But then I keep all of these in a pile, which I have somewhere over there, my hard drive pile, so I can go back in case I can't find it, or one of these hard drives dies, which I had last year happen. I had an entire 3 terabyte hard drive of photos and edited photos die, but thank God I had all of the photos that I shot for 2015 on hard drives, which included which even included things like Ferguson and a lot of the protests. So I carry at least one of these around. Little thing that I do as well, which people love, is you'll notice that there are Velcro straps on the back of this. You'll also notice on my laptop, there's Velcro right here and here. So what I do is, I have to see which side of my laptop is. What I do is put this on here. Velcro sticks on, so when I'm editing, the hard drive is stuck here, and then the cable here just goes right in here. And I don't have to worry about the hard drive getting knocked off. My cables never disconnect unless like something really goes bad. Hard drive is also off the table, so if somebody hits it, the hard drives aren't spinning, and also it doesn't get wet, doesn't whatever. And I love it. And the cool thing is that I can literally usually just close the laptop after I disconnect it, keep this on here, and then slide it back into my back into my bag. And then it's always right here. I've been doing this for like 2 years now, and especially since the new Apples have like barely any hard drive space, I have to just basically, there's just no way to not live with at least one of these hard drives around. And I also do recommend the G-Tech ones. You can buy them at Apple for like $65, terabyte USB-C. I would never buy a 2 terabyte one in general. Just it's to me, it's too much information on such a small thing that you travel with. Okay, so let's keep going. I got a lot of stuff in here. D600 body. Just goes down in here in the bottom. That has always keep a cap on it. Let's see, this is my Tascam D60D Mark II audio recorder, which has 2 XLR inputs so that I can actually record XLR sound, either with a shotgun mic or a stand-up mic, or however, so that I'm not using the the mini inputs on the side of the camera, which one of my Nikons actually it stopped working, I think due to water damage, which is stupid for me. And this goes right on the bottom like this, so I can actually do run and gun pretty easily. And then I have a shotgun mic holder, which goes right on the top of my DSLR like this. Shotgun holder is not what it's actually called, but it basically stops at least some of the shake and kind of noise and stuff like that you get if you just had it right on there. So got that. Then attached is kind of always my 7200. It's the VR1. It is beat to hell, if you can see. It is time for me to get a new one, but that's going to have to wait a couple months. Still works great. Shot both of the inaugurals with this thing, even in the condition that it's in. Thank God I had a filter on it, by the way. Otherwise, it would have completely obliterated the lens when it dropped out of my car, which is what I think at least it did that time. So, yep, another D600. If you notice another little thing, gaffer's tape. I always keep gaffer's tape across the top here, usually across the Nikon as well, to kind of cover the Nikon, but to keep my pop-up flash from going up in case anything switches around. That's a thing. It also, I think, kind of keeps some of the water damage might happen. So you got that. I have just an basic Anker battery charger, or a cell phone charger. I forget how many milliamps this is. It's a pretty high one. I think it's like 3,000 or something like that. Highly recommend kind of anything from Anker. They're fantastic. You can get them on Amazon. They're usually cheaper than anything really out there. I think they're Chinese made, but they're kind of the high quality stuff. Never had any problems with their chargers. I have got a USB car charger as well for the cigarette lighter. It's fantastic. Works better than like the Apple one or whatever. Okay, also have for my video work, I have the VidPro LED. It's super small, or super thin. Battery. Battery is just I think it used to go to my Sony Z1U. Is the same battery. That's why I bought it originally. But it's got a nice thing. It has filters that can go on there. Very rarely use it, but sometimes it's nice if you're taking, doing portraits or something like that as well. You can actually just kind of, use lighting like that as opposed to flash. I very rarely ever use or carry around a flash myself. It's this charger for it. Then we have a 35 millimeter 1.4 from Sigma, the Art Series lens. It's probably my favorite lens. It's probably the lens that I use almost more than anything else. Certainly the most best in shape lens I have. It's probably one of the better better lenses I've ever purchased, and it's like $750. If you don't have this in your kit or the Nikon or Canon equivalent, then you're nuts. Okay, and then the final lens is my almost more beat up 17-35 2.8 from Nikon. Absolutely love this lens. Again, it's another one that it's time to get a new one. Also similarly had a drop on it, but still works fantastic. This lens is a complete workhorse, and it's one of my favorite lenses. Works great on, especially if you've got a crop sensor kit. This I highly recommend to get. It's I'd get this as opposed to a 24-70 if I have a crop sensor kit. But this works obviously on full frame, and obviously it works on crop sensor. It works on full frame. So then on the sides, what I have packed in, since weather is kind of up in the air, I've got the rain cover for this bag. This has pretty good rain protection, but if you get caught in downpour, you're going to really want this. And then I have, well, normally I carry around the Optech kind of disposable camera rain covers. I have a Camaraderie, I think it is, rain cover that I think I liberated from a friend of mine who let me borrow it ages ago. By the way, if you're watching, just shoot me what your address is now. But it's a decent one. It's kind of a little bit more professional. It has a flash pop-up area, and I'm sure it comes with a bunch of other accessories that you can get to kind of extend it out. But I've used this a bunch, and it works great. Has places to put your hands in, which is nice. Oh yeah, the last thing that I forgot in the bottom pocket, which is kind of the one I'll do a what's in my trunk video. I think when I get down to DC, if I can get somebody to film it. But the last thing I recommend, especially if you're covering protest stuff or even concerts or anything like that, I have a bunch of earplugs. You can buy a big plastic jug of them on Amazon for like $14. Carry around a bunch of them. Again, if they bring out a sound cannon for the to use against the protesters, you'll be everyone's best friend if you have a whole crap ton of these. So yes, this is kind of basically what I'm going to go to Washington, D.C. Tomorrow morning with. Obviously, I'll have, I have a tripod and a monopod and some other things in my bag, like in my car, like my helmets, my gas masks, and bulletproof vest, which I can't imagine I'll have to use. I hope. And obviously, in my kind of travel bag, I'll have batteries or like AA batteries, chargers, and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I do actually, I remember it, do carry around a ton of AA Eneloop batteries. Eneloop is hands down the only batteries anyone should be buying. If they want to sponsor me, I'm happy about that. If they don't, I'll still keep saying it. These things are the saving grace, especially this for this Tascam here. This thing drains batteries like a son of a gun. And the only thing that allows me to actually do work with it is the Eneloop batteries. These last probably like twice as long as any other rechargeables I've ever owned, and certainly longer than any disposables. So these are better for the environment. They're an investment. They're expensive, but they're worth it. So yeah, not to go any longer because I think this is by far too long of a video, if anyone's still watching. But this is my expanded kit. And I'm Zach Roberts for Around the Lens podcast and website. You can see us. We went to, you can see us right behind here. We've got some stories up about a whole bunch of different photojournalism things you should care about, things you should know if you're thinking about becoming a photojournalist. Or if you're already a professional, I recommend checking out our podcast. You can get it on iTunes. You can check it out on YouTube, and of course, on all those Android apps and everything that you can use. So thanks for watching, and hopefully, thanks for listening.